I now call Deputy Owen Murphy.
Thank you, Chair. And I'd just like to congratulate the committee and the Chairman for all the work that they've done. I mean, the Justice Committee does do a huge amount of work. And in one respect, I'm glad I don't sit on it because of that. But it's a very interesting report, and there's a lot of good things in it. I'd like to speak about just 3 or 4 things. One is this issue of rehabilitation, because I think that, my fear is that it's just paid lip service in Irish society, that we use prisons just to lock people up and then let them out again, and there's no sense of trying to address the more fundamental issues that lead to someone becoming imprisoned, and then how we rehabilitate them back into society. And you have to worry about people taking advantage of the prison system in terms of being an industry. We see that in the direct provision system as well, where people have taken advantage there over how that system has evolved in the amount of years and the money that is then made from it. And that's not a good thing. And I know, Minister, you're doing a lot of work on that at the moment, and I won't go into that area. But to come back to this idea of rehabilitation, the Chairman spoke about Care After Prison in his presentation, and I've visited them on a couple of occasions, and I've also been to one of their fundraisers, and I've met with people from Care After Prison on a number of times, and it's an excellent organisation. It's a small group of people, ex-offenders, looking after ex-offenders, rehabilitating them back into society. And in 2012, it's the first peer-led charity of its kind, and in 2012 there was a pilot scheme, and they dealt with 280% more people than was anticipated. 280% more people than was anticipated, and there were no convictions from those people. That's a successful programme, and that's exactly the kind of programme that we should be looking at. Now, in 2013, there was a small contract from the Irish Prison Services, and that's welcome. But in fact, I think we need to be looking at Care After Prison as an organisation, but other similar organisations, and seeing how we can give more money in that area as a way of preventing further people offending, going back into prison. A small amount of money here could make a big difference. I think it's a smart way to use our resources. And so I do hope that the department, I know that they know Care After Prison and are aware of them and have engaged with them. I hope they do a lot more work with them, and I hope they bring them in and use them to both the advantage of the people who are coming out of prison and back into society, but also the advantage of society as a whole. Another area I wanted to talk about was related to the report, but tangential to it, is the retention of information after arrest. I asked a PQ of the Minister, it was last year now, about the time frame Gardaí are required to hold information on a person detained and arrested by them, even though that arrest does not lead to a conviction or a successful prosecution. And it seems that in such circumstances, the Garda Síochána, when a criminal investigation has been completed and no charge preferred, they retain information which has been collected, and they can hold on to that information for as long as they deem appropriate. And I'd have a concern about that because, in the context of, it sounds like from the response I got from the department that means that they can indefinitely retain information on someone that they have arrested or detained, even though it has not led to any conviction or prosecution. I think that needs to be looked at very closely. And when it comes to then how long they can retain such information, it seems to be up to the Gardaí themselves. So is anyone regulating this? Who is determining the necessity of this practice? Is the Gardaí Inspectorate involved at all? Because, and this will lead into my further point on spent convictions, it's important that people's rights are respected. We've already seen in the UK where a European court ruling was against the UK practice of people retaining fingerprint evidence from people that they had arrested or detained but had not led to any conviction or prosecution. Now, I know fingerprints is a bit more than just keeping information, because it actually can be linked back to the individual. But it's a view, I suppose. I suppose it reflects an attitude on the part of the Gardaí to individuals, whereby there is this suspicion of guilt, even though there may not be any reason for suspicion of guilt, even though they cannot find evidence as to lead to an arrest or a prosecution or a conviction, that they would then still retain that information and they would decide how long. And I just wonder if that's the kind of practice that the Gardaí should be allowed to continue. I think that should be looked at. And then coming on to the spent convictions bill, I've had a lot of correspondence on this bill from a few individuals and some in the UK over the last number of years since I was elected, and about this bill coming forward and being enacted. And I would worry about what I understand will be the time frame of 7 years in relation to certain convictions, and how unfair that might be for people who are trying to get past a mistake they may have made and get work, get employment abroad or here, travel to other countries, basically build or rebuild their lives. And it may even be a question of rebuilding their lives. It might have just been one conviction related to a smaller or minor offence, something that is an unfortunate circumstance or sequence of events. And as a result of that, it's not what they did, in fact, but it's how their conviction has been treated subsequently after them dealing with it that has prevented them from then re-establishing their lives or continuing with their lives. And so I hope that we can move with this quickly and get that area clarified, because if 7 years is the time frame that we're talking about for, I think, 80% of district court convictions, there needs to be greater flexibility there, and that needs to be reduced. But I do understand that there are further changes coming, so there might be an opportunity for that then. But just to congratulate the committee on all of its work, and I look forward to the next debate on their next report. Thank you.